to point out my humiliation to those mortals. Be careful, Skull.
No, I came to offer you a seat on my cabal.
I was watching Nosferatu, and it really made me appreciate how amazing Dracula movie can be. After that, I started looking up what's coming next, and I noticed there's barely anything Dracula related. That's when it hit me. It could be the perfect time for Dracula to join the MCU. From the very start, MCU has mainly stuck to superhero stories. Even now, Marvel's still focused on superheroes across movies, TV shows, animated series, and specials. While we all love the Marvel heroes that have become household names over the past 17 years, there's definitely a growing sense of superhero fatigue. People are starting to get a bit burned out, with shows like Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn's Secret Invasion getting mixed reviews. But in 2022, Marvel did something different and jumped into the horror genre with Werewolf by Night. Directed by Michael Giacchino, the special had a classic monster movie vibe, with nods to Universal's Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. With its black and white look, practical effects, and a taste of horror, even if it's still dipping its toes in, Werewolf by Night was a hit. It introduced a new side to the MCU, something we've only seen hints of in things like the Doctor Strange films, WandaVision, and She-Hulk. It still feels like Marvel, but it's a fresh, new direction that the studio should definitely explore more after introducing more supernatural stuff in Agatha All Along. But who is Dracula? This Dracula, much like any other, is also based on the vampire Count Dracula from Bram Stoker's classic novel, Dracula. After his first appearance in the Tomb of Dracula series, the character became a major antagonist to superheroes in the Marvel Universe. Born Vlad Dracula in 1430 in Schlossberg, Transylvania, he was the second son of a nobleman. He was named Prince of Transylvania and Voivod, or Prince of Wallachia, becoming ruler as a child. Over the years, Dracula fought the Ottoman Turks, losing and reclaiming his throne multiple times. Through an arranged marriage to Hungarian noblewoman Zofia, he had a daughter named Lilith. Later, he sent his wife and daughter away and married Maria, with whom he had a son, Vlad Tepalus. With his third wife, Domini, he had another son, Janus. In the 19th century, Dracula faced opposition from Abraham Van Helsing and Jonathan Harker in England. After his defeat, Dracula's remains were sealed in a cave, hidden by a massive boulder. Frankenstein's monster was tricked into unsealing the cave, freeing Dracula. Later, Dracula clashed with figures like Cagliostro and Solomon Kane. Just before World War I, he turned Lord John Falsworth into Baron Blood. In the later half of the 20th century, Dracula was brought back from death by Clifton Graves and soon found himself at odds with Quincy Harker and Rachel Van Helsing. After taking control of the cult of the Darkhold, Dracula sought the power of the Dark Book to rid himself of his vampiric weaknesses and achieve true immortality. However, his attempts were repeatedly thwarted by the X-Men, the now vampiric Rachel Van Helsing and Lilith, Thor, Doctor Strange, Hannibal King, and the Avengers. Dracula had one apparent post-mortem appearance when the Grandmaster summoned him, along with several other deceased heroes and villains, to challenge the Avengers. Dracula made a return when the Montesi formula's effects were undone, and Hydra created a clone from his DNA to serve as a vampiric superweapon. However, the clone managed to escape their control. In the 21st century, Dracula assembled an army of vampires on the moon, planning to conquer the United Kingdom. He allied with other supernatural villains, including Lilith, a different entity from his daughter, Captain Fate, and Baron Blood. Dracula first approached Doctor Doom to secure a non-aggression pact with him, and by extension, the Cabal, ensuring no opposition to his conquest. With this alliance, he launched a preemptive strike on MI-13's superheroes, sending specially bred vampires to Earth like missiles. It was revealed that Dracula harbored contempt for Muslims and intended to wipe them out after securing Great Britain. As part of his attack, he went after the family of Faiza Hussein, attacking her mother and taking her father, along with MI-13 agent Killpower, hostage. British vampire hero Spitfire was also abducted and turned into one of his minions. Dracula manipulated MI13 into revealing the location of Quincy Harker's remains, which were magically treated to prevent vampires from entering the UK without invitation, so he could destroy them. Once this was done, he used Fate's help to launch warships towards Earth. However, unknown to Dracula, Pete Wisdom had tricked him into destroying fake remains, and Spitfire had been secretly feeding information to MI13 while pretending to be under Dracula's control. To keep Dracula from discovering the truth, he was briefly trapped in a demonic dream corridor where he lived out his fantasies of victory. After escaping, MI13 launched a series of attacks to keep him distracted until the warships entered British airspace without invitation, leading to the destruction of most of his forces. In the final battle, Dracula was pursued to his fortress and prevented from escaping by the Black Knight and Faiza Hussein, who wielded the sword Excalibur. While Dracula severely wounded the Black Knight, Faiza struck him down with a single blow from Excalibur, securing a victory for Britain. This story would fit perfectly into the MCU's plan to expand the supernatural side of their universe, especially with their plans to tell more UK-focused stories. Not to mention that the Black Knight was recently introduced in Eternals, and Blade's voice was already heard. Kit Harington plays Black Knight, and Mahershala Ali plays Blade. But the real question is, who's going to take on the role of Dracula? I think Javier Bardem would be an excellent choice to play Dracula. He's one of the finest character actors working today, and while he's a big star, he doesn't always take center stage in his roles. Recently, his portrayal of Stilgar in Dune Part 2 has been one of the standout performances of 2024. Bardem is known for playing larger-than-life characters with a lot of internal conflict, often taking on iconic villains like his Oscar-winning turn as Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. His take on Dracula could be something really special, quiet and understated, hiding a simmering rage beneath the surface. He has a natural ability to feel otherworldly, making him perfect for a role where he stands out in a world that doesn't quite match him. Bardem could bring a sense of Dracula as an aberration, someone who doesn't quite belong but who endures anyway. Next up is Rhys Ifans. Sir Otto Hightower is one of the most scheming, manipulative characters in House of the Dragon, and he stands out in a world full of similar figures, mainly because of Ifans' brilliant performance. Ifans technically made his MCU debut in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he returned as the Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was a visitor from another dimension who stayed in his lizard form, so there's definitely room for Ifans to take on a more interesting role next time. His career has had some interesting moments, like his standout performance in Roland Emmerich's quirky Shakespeare conspiracy movie Anonymous. Ifans would be an awesome choice for Dracula in any Marvel project, bringing some serious depth and complexity to the character. Finally, we have Luke Evans. Remember when Luke Evans played Dracula? Probably not, since Dracula Untold didn't quite land, thanks to the writers who later brought us Morbius and Madam Web. But Evans was definitely the standout in that film, bringing real depth, presence, and conflict to a historical version of Dracula. He also played the character in a superhero context. If experience is key, Evans might be the best pick for this role. Plus, he's probably the most likely to actually accept the role. Evans' Dracula could take that past misfire and turn it into a win. Marvel's version of Dracula could become a huge part of future phases. Imagine him as the MCU's new Loki, leading the Midnight Suns. If Blade ever gets going, Marvel will have a lot riding on the big decision of who plays Dracula. That's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated. And if you want, feel free to drop your thoughts on this video in the comments too.